On Netflix, I watched, this is saying from 2015, though I think it might have said here released 2016 in the US anyways, The Witch. This is an A24 film. They're kind of a mid-major, think Orion Pictures in the 80s. This was not awful. In fact, I kind of like this. I like some of the twists here. I do think that some things could have been clarified a little better, but overall, as a modern horror film goes, I think this is one of the better I've seen, to be honest with you. So, this follows a Puritan family that has been outcast out of their village. I'm not really sure what crimes they committed here, but they're kicked out of the village and they set out. So they're going across like New England, and they're just maybe, I don't know, a few hours ride outside of town or something like this. They're in the woods. They're setting up. They built a house pretty damn fast, I have to say, with no help. You got a, like, maybe 17, 18-year-old daughter, maybe a 12-year-old boy, two little kid twins, boy and a girl. Dad and Mom built this house and this barn pretty damn quick. Yeah, the barn's not finished. Can't blame you. But they're doing their praying and all this, and this is a very artsy style presentation. It's a good looking movie. It's shot with a nice black levels. The lighting is fairly realistic. There's nothing kitschy about this, but it has a serious tone to it. And it maintains this period aspect because the dialogue is very old English. It's this is a family from England, and they're upset. Some of them wish they could have stayed in England. New World, all of that, and they're saying these things. I should have written some of this down, but they had this old English way of talking that pulled you into the world it's creating, I would say. Well, you have oh man, I should have wrote down the names of the characters, and at least I'm not going to write down some of this dialogue to reflect upon. But you got the daughter. There's multiple daughters. The main daughter, her name's like Thomason. Thomason. I think it's Thomason. She, blonde hair, not bad looking. I think her name's like Joy Taylor or something. Well, Joy Taylor's on Fox Sports 1, but Anna Joy Taylor's right. That rings a bell. She's in some other stuff. She's kind of an up-and-coming actress here. She's in Split in the upcoming Glass, right? Well, she is playing in the woods with the newborn baby. Yeah, they had quite a family here. The infant boy, she's playing peekaboo. Peekaboo, I see you, covers her eyes, and then the kid disappears. She looks in the woods, and you see this figure walking around with this robe, holding this baby. You hear the baby kind of squealing a little bit. It's not in any pain or nothing. But then it's night, and the baby gets sacrificed, and it appears as though the baby's blood is being used to grease a broom pole so the witch can fly. Yeah, that hits you pretty quick. Now, the family's broken up about this boy being missing, and then eventually they just give up on finding him. The cold, the starvation got him if the wolves didn't. Let's go hunt for some wolves. A lot goes on about Dad selling some silver cup to buy traps and bullets and shit. And it's like, so what? Like, really, we're going to keep going talking about this? But the youngest twin daughter, she's like pestering the older daughter. And the older daughter, Thomason, she scares her off by saying she's a witch. She's going to cast her out just like she did the little boy if she keeps messing with her. And the little twin girl, she buys into this. Also, you have this weird thing going on where the 12-year-old boy kind of trying to peek at his sister's rack. He goes off in the woods looking for the kid and all this stuff on his own. Well, actually, he tries to run away because they're going to sell Thomason off to a family because things are not going well for him with the harvest and whatever hell. But those two try to run off, and the dog sees something, and they're going after this rabbit. and Thomason falls off her horse clumsily because girls have to trip over something. They have to fall down somehow in a horror film, right? Well, he ends up finding a witch house, and there's like a hot witch there, and they don't say anything. He just kind of walks over to her, and being an A24 film, they have to do this like under the skin, don't they? Like boom, 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 boom. So we have drum percussion sounds and no dialogue and just here, seduction to death. And she kisses him and then reaches over with this like old lady claw hand on his head. And we're like, oh, the witch got him, right? So now the family's kind of getting picked off. The boy's missing. He somehow returns at night, naked and scared and possessed by the devil or some shit. And as he's going through this, the family's praying and all this. The little twins are acting like they're possessed and blaming witch older daughter Thomason. So now you feel like the witch is the witch hunt, you know? And like I tell you guys, witch hunts are not a bad thing, because if not for the brave citizens of Salem, we would all be speaking Wiccan. So they did a lot of good, you know, driving out the witches. And now we don't have a witch-filled United States. But as we are here, we have these girls, well, little girl, little boy, tormenting the parents and acting a fool. They're blaming the daughter. Mom doesn't know what to do. Locks all of them in the barn with the goat, which they say that... Thomason's saying that they talk to this goat all day long. Maybe the goat's the devil and they're getting word from him or something. And you don't know what to take from this, really. Like, what? Now, come on. Now, is she just making some shit up? The mom then has a vision that her boy who is possessed and then she saw die after he gave some big monologue. Like, very theatrical. He has come to her. He has the baby. She's like, oh, hey, I have to breastfeed the baby. And then all of a sudden, it's like a raven or a crow picking at her. And I'm thinking, okay, how does the father sleep through this? Yeah, she's laughing maniacally as this like crow is picking at her boob. And I guess that actually happened because somehow she managed to sleep through it and she's bleeding through the shirt. Next day, or actually that night, a witch seems to come in through the barn roof, scares the kids right quick, and I guess they had a battle. There's a lot of, hey, we got to cut to black, we got to make it look indie here. A bit of that got too obnoxious for me. The dad wakes up next day, gets rammed by the billy goat, who kills him, like stabs him deep, and then thrusts him into like a pile of wood he's been chopping. So we periodically see him chopping this wood like, oh, hey, we must be setting up something for this wood. Well, the wood got set up and it fell over on his ass. And everybody in the barn got, I guess, killed. I didn't see the bodies of the twins. I thought I saw a white goat in there got ripped in half. I thought that's what I saw on the ground, but Thomason's okay. I don't know why they're still sticking around there through the night if this was going on. Then Mom comes by, blames Thomason for everything. They have a fight. Thomason stabs her, takes her out because she was getting strangled. You know, gotta do what you gotta do. And then she goes over to the billy goat and is like, hey, are you really the devil? And the billy goat talks back to her and like transforms into a guy. And he's like, hey, I can give you special abilities, special privileges. You know, you want to do stuff? You want to see the world? All right, here's what you got to do. You got to take your clothes off and walk in the woods. So now you get to see her butt. So her naked, pale butt walks off into the woods where a bunch of naked witches are around a fire doing a little chant. And as they chant, they start to rise up in the air, and then she can fly, and so now she is the witch. Interesting turn of events. It kept me guessing. Again, the aesthetic was strong. I liked the old-timey dialogue, though sometimes I had to try to listen for it again or rewind. I did, on a couple occasions, turn on some captions to try to figure out what the hell they were talking about. But I thought that, made it feel fairly authentic. It says at the end here that the lines come from testimony about witches at this time. So, yeah, they're based on a true story. Well, not really. Based on some historical events in some capacity, sure. Fused together, taking some liberties here and there. But, you know what? Fairly frightening, jarring in a way. I wouldn't say that it was chock full of the jump scares, nothing cheap, really. But this was a fairly intriguing little horror film, fairly modern, only a few years old, and I liked it. So I give The Witch 3 out of 4 stars.